everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name is Sharita, and we're here to revamp the channel Dressed in Strength and Honor, or DISH for short. Um, Today, we're going to be discussing some tips regarding goals and New Year's resolution. I know it'll be helpful for a couple of people that have already started their New Year's resolution, or those who are thinking about starting, or some people that are already feeling discouraged because I know we're a couple weeks in the year. So I have a very special person here with me, Marvel Austin. And we are just gonna do a little bit of chit chat, just to encourage everyone that it's okay to have goals. It's okay to be discouraged. It's not okay to give up. So we're just gonna just have, a brief discussion on New Year goals and resolution on these two episodes for this series. Okay. So Marvel.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Just a little chatting here. Quick question for you. Have you ever had a New Year's resolution, or what your thoughts are on New Year's resolutions?
Yes, yes, I've always had New Year's resolutions. I think they're good. It's a good way to kind of see where your life is at the start of the year or at the end of the previous year and where
Mm-hmm.
you want it to be. So yes, I've done some and I've been some are successful, some they need to be revamped, but I think they're a good way to kind of have a productive year or a fulfilling year.
That's fair. That's fair. That's good because I've tried it before. Didn't quite work out. So, really like goals or New Year's resolutions, these are something that we desire and we plan to put actual effort into achieving. So it could be either you're wanting to stop something or to start something, but typically it is done, as Margot mentioned, like in the beginning of the year, or you start doing some kind of evaluation, like at the end of the previous year, as to, get some thoughts as to what you want to do or stop doing throughout the next year. Okay, so we have a couple of um, pointers for those who haven't quite started, or maybe some people that are a little bit struggling with their New Year's resolutions. So, um, we all know, or based on some research or things that we have experienced, that it is good to start by reflecting, as Marvel mentioned earlier.
Self-evaluation, yeah.
And it is good to kind of like narrow it down on a specific area. So doing some self-evaluation will allow you to figure out what areas you want to work on for the next year. Um, so Marvel, can you tell us a little bit of what your process was regarding? I
Okay.
know some people would encourage using the SMART goals, but from your experience, what are some steps that you took to help, the process of
Okay.
achieving your goals a little bit easier?
Well, you mentioned earlier that you've tried and you've probably not accomplished much. And I think that's the point of today's vlog that some persons, when they hear resolution, they think that it has to be something very big or enormous and so the point, as you mentioned earlier, is that it's something that is smart, and we
Mm,
want to do things that to us we can accomplish it. So it can be very simple ideas. So as I said, and as you mentioned, it's self-reflection, self-evaluation. You can start this year by saying, or the end of the year, by saying, what do I want to accomplish next year? What do I want to accomplish this year? And
mhm.
so you mentioned SMART. And For me personally, like there's simple stuff, a lot of persons take on gym and all, but I find out you have to know what works for you.
Right.
And so once you can do a little note keeping and you kind of just say what do I want to accomplish. So one of the things that I would do is like I look on what I probably didn't accomplish in the current year and how I can
Mm-hmm.
move forward next year. But as I said, they can be simple, very smart as well, but very simple. And one of that is like we can break up. It doesn't have to be one big goal such as education. You can break them down into several different topics. And the first one that I would probably say is like most persons like to start off the year with like health. You
Right.
know,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be like gym or running or exercise. It can be just a general thing about like probably like me. I struggled with acne, right? And for
Mm-hmm.
me, that would have been like something that I really wanted to work on. And so that's something that you can say, okay, this year I'm going to take better care of my skin. I'm going to probably visit the dermatologist, and I'm going to probably drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
We're covering when I'm in the sun, find steps. And it has to be like deliberate actions that you want to do to accomplish. So it doesn't have to be something big. I saw coming into this new year, I saw where somebody posted that they wanted to work on having better oral hygiene, and they say
Yeah.
it's good, but it's not perfect.
Right.
You know, and it's just simple stuff, and that's one of my goal.
Okay. So, viewers, I know we've been throwing around the acronym SMART. So SMART, the S stands for specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is realistic, T is timeline. So when you're choosing your goals, you have to be specific. Think about exactly what you want to
Yeah.
do. Measurable is something that can be measured. I read something. I probably will mention this a little later too, but I thought it was neat where they had the goals, like they had like as Marvel mentioned, something small, because if you think of it big, it can be overwhelming. So if you start small and then you work your way up to something, then that's fine. But they had it set up in like a bingo style. So they have like small things, and then once they, like however you do the bingo, whether it's like diagonally or horizontally or however, and then they'll treat themselves. If
Okay.
they achieve the amount, then they'll treat themselves. So you have to think about the things. Is it realistic? Are
Um,
you gonna give yourself a timeline? Well, you have to be realistic when you're giving yourself a timeline because you don't want to overwhelm yourself while you're going through this because then you'll get into the whole self like negative talk and stuff like that. And we want to avoid things like that. But yeah, so we're gonna kind of go back to what Marvel was saying that, a couple of ideas where people or a couple of things that are top ideas what people would consider when they're thinking about New Year's goals. You mentioned health and fitness. That was one of the ones that I had and was very it didn't work out at all. Let's just say that.
it's on more than you could
Um
true.
yeah, so did not follow through at all. Like maybe 2 months. Well, I had
But
stopped
for
going to
health though,
like,
Sharita, but
huh?
for health, what were your goals? Was it
Well, it was
fit? Was it something
regarding
smart? Yeah.
fitness, trying to work out. So I had signed up for the gym
Mhm.
and I started off doing very well. Like the first 2 weeks was great because I know I read something that said if you can do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. But anyway, I didn't need the 21 days. So
No,
um
but
first two
what you're
weeks was
saying,
good,
but
and then like afterwards, like I realized that I was cutting back on the days that the amount of days that I wanted to go until I eventually stopped going, and I was like, you know what, this I need to stop paying for this. I'm not going. And that was probably like 2 months into the year, so yeah, that didn't work out very well.
okay, so since we're talking about smart, maybe and as what we want to people to get from this is that it's okay to stop and reevaluate. Even if you set up a resolution or a goal for the year, it's okay to say, oh, this is not working how I want it to go. So what you could have done, maybe it's not, it's probably your approach to it, right? So
Right.
maybe you probably should have done some goal setting and you set timeline. So maybe you should have said, oh, by the end of January, if you wanted to like accomplish doing like a 3 miles run, you're probably going to say, okay, for January, I'm going to try and see how much I can do a mile or
Right.
even
Yeah.
half a mile. Because some of the times, we get up and I say, oh, I want to do a 5K, but you've never run a 5K before,
Right.
right? So, but what you want to do is to see how far you can push your body first. So you say, okay, I'm going to
Right.
1 kilometer this today. Maybe tomorrow you probably can do a point 1.5. So some of the times it's how we set the goal. And as you say, it has to be smart, right?
Mhm.
And as I mentioned earlier, so what you probably feel is that you went ahead now, you've probably never been to the gym and you take on this whole gym and probably got so intimidated by the first two tries. And then, you didn't set your work schedule around it or, so many other factors. But some of the times is that the smart part don't come in, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
it's okay as well to stop and say, let me see how I can do this again.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like my thought process didn't go to reevaluating. I was like, this isn't working out, so I am just not going to do this.
Okay.
But yeah, typically like in the beginning of the year, a lot of people would try it's like, try to get their summer body, so they want to lose
Yeah,
weight
everybody
or
is thinking about health. Yeah.
yeah, try to do that. And then some people, well, recently, I would want to say maybe in the past 2, 3 years, I learned about this term called dry January, with that people who would um be like either like social drinkers or they would take the month of January from that to kind of like I guess get better health, and then if they do well with that, then they'll probably be able to continue with it. And a lot of people they try to implement self-care, which that could be a whole different video. We won't even dive into self-care right now. But yeah, so because a lot of self-care can involve either even drinking or oral health or all that stuff. Not drinking like drinking, but drinking water, sorry.
Right. Well, as you
And
mentioned,
oral health or mental health. Like a lot of people would can incorporate all that stuff. That's why I said that this could be a whole different video in itself. And some people consider traveling. They want to
yeah. Well, I
explore.
was going to say, as you mentioned, self-care, like one of the things, because most people just focus on health, but there are several areas of goal settings,
Yeah.
there are several areas that you can focus on. So you're going to say that another one is lifestyle. That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And you recently took a trip, and I know we both enjoy traveling, so we can talk a little bit about traveling as a goal, because I know it takes in a lot to travel.
yeah, yeah, but as you said though, like in goal setting or as we call it, New Year's resolution, it doesn't have to just be one thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And most persons at the start of the year, because everybody is coming out of Christmas and they want to lose weight, but there are several aspects of your life that you can say, I want to focus on this year. And so like traveling and our
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle in Jamaica, I find like, personally, like a lot of us like we want to travel, but we think like, oh, it's expensive, or a lot of persons think like, oh, America is the only place that they can go. But you can really start by saying, oh, I want to see somewhere else in Jamaica that I've never been. Or
Mm-hmm.
and for persons who want to like get their visas, a lot of everybody wants to go to America, but like it starts by going to like visa-free destinations, and that helps to build your travel history in terms of when you want to go to the embassy and go to America. So those are goals that you can put into like even it starts as simple as saying, oh, by March, as we're talking about smart, by March I
Mm-hmm.
want to get my passport, you know. And so you say, okay, March, if you need to get the funds, I'm going to beg my uncle $100, whoever you need to do it. But
Right.
and getting a passport is an accomplishment as well. If you
Right,
put
right.
into it and say, and then after that, now you say, okay, I want to do something for summer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good tip there, especially like saying you can try traveling domestic, like check out different areas in the country, or regionally, like as I say, like visa-free countries, that's a definitely good tip that a lot of people really do not think
Yeah, a
about.
lot of us don't. Yeah, sometimes we're so bombarded by like others and social media as well. We forget
That's
that.
true.
Yeah, so we put some pressure, and that's why, and in this too, as I said, pressure. I think we should give ourselves grace as well. Some of the times, don't be too hard on yourself. So, and I keep mentioning self-evaluating. So, if it's not going according to plan, if it didn't happen in March, you can reevaluate what you didn't do, how you can do it differently, and say, okay, I'm going for it for May or April or June, July.
Yes, that definitely alleviates the pressure because especially for me, I struggle a little bit with anxiety. Well, maybe I shouldn't say a little. I struggle with anxiety. So
Yeah.
sometimes when things aren't going my way, it I spiral out of control and I feel like, okay, well, maybe it's never going to happen. But if I
Okay.
can, bring myself back and just be like, okay, nothing is really perfect. This might not be the timing. It doesn't mean that's never going to happen. All I have to do is just, maybe just pull back for a second, take a break, and then, try to approach it again or whatever the goal may be again.
Yeah.
Um and as we're going along and just kind of discussing all the different types of Margaret mentioned, sometimes people it's just one goal they may have, sometimes multiple goals. And sometimes if you have multiple goals, it might get a little overwhelming. And that is normal. So don't feel like, you're a failure just because things aren't working out.
Can focus on one, and then you can focus on one, and once you've accomplished that one, you can set another. You don't
Right.
have to take on more than you can chew. And as I said, so we can say, so lifestyle, we may say travel, but there are other aspects of lifestyle that you too can explore, something that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you wanted to see a movie, or you've never been to the theater, or you've never seen a live play, or
Mm-hmm.
something different that you probably always wanted to do. And you do your
Right.
little research, and then you find out how you can accomplish that. And also, another area of goal setting can be like personal or professional development, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're in a job, maybe you've always had an other area of interest that you wanted to explore, or maybe you're saying, like, what else can I do differently in my current role at work to be at my best game. You never got employee of the month or of the quarter or whatever last year. How can I be different? Or you want to go back to school, so those are stuff that you can explore, even to just complete the application and submit it. That's an
That's
accomplishment
definitely
in
it.
itself, and as I said, timeline, make sure it's smart. So if you know you want to go to school in 2025 or for 2026, then you start preparing from now. And if you want to go next year, maybe you can still even apply this year, see if
Mhm.
you get in what you need, what are the requirements that you probably never had that you need to explore to get in for the other year. And when you do it early and when you have your clear goals, then you know where you stand.
I think that's definitely some good tips right there. And as you mentioned, like, some personal goals, even though career sometimes might be um part of the personal goal as well as a professional goal. But some people might it's probably not a good example, but some people might be on the creative side that they want to learn how to or not learn or maybe
Oh,
improve on like
yeah.
drawing or like if into
Crochet,
sewing. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, even like swimming, like,
Or yeah, or
in
learn a new
Jamaica,
language
yeah,
or something. I don't know.
yeah. In Jamaica, like a lot of persons, because I'm from country, so a lot of persons when they hear that I can't swim, they're like, how comes you're from the country and can't swim? And nowadays I find like a lot of persons, it's probably lifestyle as personal development. I see a lot of persons taking on like, tennis,
Mhm.
swimming, so as I say, as you get older or as your focus becomes clearer, then there are things that you can take on that you've never had the opportunity to, that
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be like traditional, as you say, traditional activities.
Right.
And
Yeah.
another part too is like finances. It can be finances. So maybe you can say, oh, I didn't save last year, And maybe I can save. I want to save this year because I want to travel for Christmas, or I want to have a Christmas dinner at my yard or something of the sort.
Hmm.
And I know when we hear saving, we think, oh, it has to be like millions of dollars. No,
Right,
it
right.
can be as small as $500 a week or a month or $1,000. And you'll be surprised if you save 500 or 1,000 or 2,005 a month. It can be from a range of 12,000 to 30,000. You'll be surprised how much money you'll have at the end of the year by just,
Yeah.
you know what I do though personally, every silver that I get, actually I have my jar right here. Every silver that I get last year, I put them in a jar.
Oh, wow, you're doing well.
So every change I get, I carry them
Hmm.
home. And I tell you, this is more than $3,000. I counted it last at the end of last year. So it is as simple as that. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be breaking the bank, you know. And as I said, we're trying to be realistic.
Right, exactly, exactly. So that's why I like the idea of trying to alleviate the pressure, the stress, the anxiety in setting goals and trying to achieve them. I think like just the pressure of trying to achieve kind of allow people to just feel discouraged, you know?
Yeah.
But I like that you're encouraging the fact that starting small, you
Yeah.
know, starting small and, just see where it goes. Don't put too much pressure. Be flexible with it. But yeah, that's definitely definitely
I like what you said, like, you know, because it's easy to put pressure on yourself because I might be comparing myself to you, and I was like, oh, Sharita is doing this. And I might see where, oh, I see where Sharita lost weight and I'm here, like, I think
hmm
once you're focused on you, and as I said, give yourself grace, if
hmm
you can accomplish something that you've never done before, even if you apply to school and you don't get into this year, the fact that you made that application, I think that's a big step in itself, you
Oh
know?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Be
But
practical as well. Just be practical. Yeah.
yeah, but it's the thing that we as people, I'm gonna talk to myself. For myself, I tend to be more critical than of myself than others. So we're going to pick up on part two as we talk a little bit more about how critical we can be on ourselves and kind of like get into some more tips as to how we can move forward with achieving or readjusting our New Year's resolutions. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll have more for you, so please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you can be notified whenever we have new videos coming out. But thanks again. Chat soon. Bye.